Hello to everyone. This is the thought process program, the regular one that we have together with you. The topic that we have for today's conversation is to abolish and end the military. And the revolution that we are in has been around 3 years, and we are now seeing more defectors, and at the same time that we can see all the military operation by the revolutionary forces taking upper hand around the country as a result of it. And there are many units defecting, and there are many individual soldiers defecting and leaving the military and joining to the public and in joining the revolution. So this is the dynamic of the military um, that they are um, collapsing actually. So basically, in order to have less bloodshed, um, it is important that the defection movement is to be stronger. So what we can do from our side to welcome the defection, and we need to know what we can do to make sure that the defection is stronger. And it is also very important that we need to demolish the military, the weak one, um, once and for all. So we will discuss around these topics. And for this conversation, we have panelists with us together in this room, and allow me to introduce them with you. And we have Padomar. She is the secretary number one of the Karenni Interim Executive Council. And we have Rose, who is the wife of the CDM privates. And we have Chit, the CDM Lance Corporal, and Thuta, CDM captain. And we will have a discussion with them. And I also would like to encourage the attendees, audience, to participate in our discussions as well. First, I would like to invite Matsubado to introduce yourself. Thank you. Minglawa to all of you. Thank you very much for inviting me to be in here. My name is Zubadoma. You may just call me Zuzu. Currently, I serve as the secretary number one of the Karenni State Interim Executive Council. Before that, I engage in the women movement. I also is the member of the women's union as well. And now I am serving as the um, secretary number one of the KND State Interim Executive Council. Thank you. Rose, please introduce yourself. All the member of the People's Gold Program, all the defectors, and all the member of publics, I would like to greet you. I would like to say Minglaba to you. I am a CDMR teacher myself, and by uh, May of last year, my husband joined into the civil disobedience movement. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Govichit for the round of introduction for yourself.
ကိုမျိုးချစ်ဟုတ်ကဲ့ speaker တယောက်ကတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ internet အခြေအနေကမရောက်သေးဘူးပေါ့နော်ကျွန်တော်
Well, I have the impression that the internet connections of Gomuche is not working well. Now, in that case, I would like to give the floor to Gonyi Thuta, the CDM captain, and we will see when Gomuche will come back, and then we will have him to introduce himself as well. My name is Nyi Thuta. I
ဒါစူးစမ်းနေကြတာရှိပါတယ်ပြီးတော့ဒီတခြားပေါ့နော်
and
တော်လိုင်းမှာကျွန်တော်တို့
my team and my colleagues are trying to have more defectors in this revolution, and I personally involved in this revolution in various forms
ပေါ့နော်
that
အဲ့မဲ့ကျွန်တော်စကားဝိုင်းလေးကိုစ
in various form that I can contribute in this revolution. Thank you. And before we have the round of discussion, we have a special guest with us. This is a person joining into the CDM civil disobedience movement very recently, and he was a private from the military before he take the defection. And I would like to give the floor to him. I was from Tanindai region, and I stand together with the public, but my intention was that I would like to be in this revolution. I would like to stand together with the people since the very beginning of the revolution. I was in LID 354 of the Tanindai region. Well, in the end, I could make it because at the very beginning, I did not have any contact to be in this defection movement. Now I've got good contacts, I've got good colleagues, I am living much better, comfortable life, and I would say that I'm still waiting for the. I'm still waiting. I mean, for the opportunity to get employment, etc. But so far, so good.
ဟိုမီးလေးတစ်ချက်လောက်ဖွင့်လို့ရလားတတ်တယ်
And can you please have your video camera on? And can you please have your light on from your end, if it is possible?
ဆိုတော့ကိုတန့်စင်မှုတော့မေကွန်လေး၃ခုလောက်မေးတင်တယ်ပေါ့နော်တက်တလို့လေဒီပြည်သူ့ဘက်ကိုဒီပြော
Well,
ချက်ဒီတော့
actually, I have three questions to Tanzinu. You just recently
ဘယ်လိုမျိုး
joined the defection movement. What make you think
စက်တိခဲ့တာလဲ
in
ပေါ့နော်တူလေး
in that direction? What make you decide to do the defection? What make you uh, 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 stand together with the public? Can you please elaborate that? Well, I do not want to take anymore. I could not witness anymore that Min Line and his troop is committing all sort of brutalities against the people of their own. I, from the very beginning, would like to leave the military, but I could not get all sort of, opportunities and contact to leave the military. But lately, what happened is that there are lots of casualties in the military, and they are also getting more brutal against the people as well. I could not stay anymore in this institution. So basically, what happened is that in the end, I managed to find a contact, and from this contact, I left the military actually. Well, at this moment, I really would like to bring my colleagues out of the military, but then again, it is very difficult for them as well to leave the military for various reasons. But first of all, they did not know much information about what would happen. They did not have contact to help them out to leave the military.
မြင်တယ်ဘယ်လို
That is the situation. Thank you. And can you also please share with
ဘယ်နဲ့
us,
တန်းခဲ့ရတယ်ဆို
in
တော့
terms of your opinions of the dynamic of the military?
ကိုထင်ထားတယ်ပေါ့ဒီဟာလေး
So, what is
တစ်ချက်လောက်
the
ပြောပြပါ
dynamic of the military currently speaking?
စစ်
Can
တဲ့
you
အခြေ
please
အနေကို
share
ဘယ်
your
လို
opinion? The current situations of military, if you can share about that, since you just, recently with them. Well, the military is having very unfavorable situation because they are being challenged, confronted, and attacked by the people defense forces. People do not like them as well. And if people, the fact that people does not like them, the soldiers are not motivated. So basically, there are lots of
Now so Megun ni na
soldiers. If they are individual, they
now so Megun
really would like to leave the. If they are alone, they really would like to leave the military. And I've got lots of colleagues having that kind of opinion.
တက်မတော်သားတွေမိသားစုဝင်တွေ
Thank you.
ဆိုရင်သူတို့ကိုဒီစစ်သား
And
ဘယ်လိုမျိုးသတင်းစကားပါနေလဲသူတို့
now, since you are speaking here, can you speak in here to your colleagues, to the family member of your colleagues? What would you like to say to them? Please say to them from here something. Well, what I would like to say to you is that don't stay with this military. Please stand together with the public. Please cooperate with the people. Please stand together with the people. This is something that I would like to say to you. Thank you. Thank you very much for being here as our special guest in this program, Gotanzin U. Now, without further ado, we will start the round of discussion with our panelists. And the first speaker that I'd like to invite is Chit. He must be here. He was not with us since the internet connection was not good, but I have the impression that you are back in here. Can you hear us?
ကိုမျိုးချစ်တန်ကြလားမသိဘူးဟုတ်ကဲ့
ဟုတ်ကဲ့မင်္ဂလာပါကိုကြားပါတယ်
ဟုတ်ကဲ့
Minglawa, I can hear you indeed.
ဒီစာတော့လေးကျွန်တော်တို့မိတ်ဆက်ပေးပါ
Can you
ကိုယ့်ရဲ့
please
မြင်းလေးစီကံလေးဖြစ်တဲ့ဟာလေးကိုအကြောင်းလေး
can you please introduce yourself to the people?
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ပါ
Who are you? Who you are? What you were doing? Extra. I defect from Matubi area.
ပြည်သူတွေကနည်းနည်းလေးကြိုဆိုတယ်အားလုံးကလည်းလိုက်လိုက်ချစ်အတွက်လာတာဝမ်းလဲ
People
တာ
warmly welcome me,
နောက်ကြလို့ဝမ်းအောင်နေမိတာပေါ့
and I am very glad that I receive a warm treatment, welcoming treatment from the people. And in other words, I even regret that I did not join the defection movement earlier on. But anyway, now I'm here in this defection movement. Thank you. Now, go Chit. We have a specific question to you. And you left the military.
အောက်ခြေတက်
Before that, you were soldier. And I would like to know from you about the ground situations of the military.
အောက်ခြေကစစ်တီတော်တော်များများ
Can you please share?
ဟုတ်ကဲ့စစ်တီတော်တော်များများ
And what I would like to say is that majority of soldiers are depressed. They are doing whatever they are instructed to do so. Whether they like to do it or they don't like to do it, well, most of them don't like to do what they are asked to do, but they just have to keep on doing because they are under the command of all this order above. So what happened is that they see all sort of casualties, they see all sort of losses. Then they are very much down in terms of their motivation. And in terms of losses, how much and how many of the ground soldiers that they are losing their
သူတို့ရဲ့ဒီနောက်တန်းမှာရှိတဲ့
if
မိ
you
သား
can share about that.
ဒီအသက်ကြီးပါ
Well,
လည်းမ
Lord,
သွား
I
နိုင်
can say. Well, what happened is that they do not want to be at the front line. They would like to be at the back line because they would like to be with their family. I mean, their family situation is not very good as well, socioeconomically speaking. So that's
Okay.
why they have all sort of intention. I mean that by all means that they would like to take the defection actually. So this is what I can say as the ground situations of a soldier. Thank you. Rose, I would like to give the floor to you. You are the CDM teacher. Your husband is the CDM private as well. And after the coup d'etat, what is the role, position, attitude, dynamic of the of the wives of soldiers there in the military? Thank you. Well, after the coup d'etat, uh, the situation got worse. The internal solidarity is not was not good anymore. What happened is that the wives of the soldiers future is not clear anymore. In their husband soldiers are not in the camp in general, and they all are out in the battlefield. So what happened is that in the camp, in the military camp, the majority of the people are the lefts are the people of the wives of the soldiers. So what happened is that the soldiers of the wives are forced to to get the military training, and there is this Saturday fatigues, and there is this regular daba that all these wives of the soldiers were forced to attend to. So what happened is that the wives of the soldier has no peaceful time at all. The wives of the soldiers had to attend to the military training. Wives of the soldiers had to attend to all this propaganda meeting. So the children of the soldiers and the children of the wives of soldiers future is not uncertain, not secure anymore as well. And at the same time, there are huge concern that the wives of the soldiers are facing for the fact that there might be drop bombs, or there might be bombardment to the camps by all sort of forces at any given moment. So the other concern is that the wives of the soldiers are very worried that they might be sent to the battlefield by giving guns and everything. So that is such a concern as well. And at the same time, the wives of the soldiers had to, I mean, were allowed only to read the the state media, or the state papers. I mean, they are not they are not giving the opportunity to use internet, and quite some of the wives might have limited education, so um, they may not have all sort of information that what's going on as well. But the general attitudes of the wives is that they would like to have they know what is righteousness, and they know what is wrong. So what happened is that whenever their husband died at the battlefield, at the front line, the widow uh, um, of the dead soldiers were not supported by this institution. So what happened is that um, only the only the widow of the high rank official were looked after by the institution. So there are all sort of discrimination that they are facing. So they also are facing that their children are forced to do all sort of other job within the camp as well. So they don't feel good at all to be in the military in any perspective. Thank you. So can you please also uh, share about the fact that the wives are sent to the battlefield. Well, about that, I did not experience as such because the I joined the civil disobedience movement quite earlier on, so I did not have the experience myself that I was sent to the military training. But my colleagues, wives of the soldiers, told me that they are. That they are forced to attend the military training, that they have by no means were willing to do so. Now I'd like to give the floor to Konyi Thuta.
ဒီစစ်ကောင်
Konyi Thuta, Minglava to you, Minglava. And I would like to know from you, in terms of your opinion regarding what is the dynamic of the current military and what would be their future dynamic, if you can share your
အခု
opinion.
ဆို
Thank
လို့
you.
ရှိရင်ကဒီစစ်ကောင်စီတပ်ဟာတက်မအဆင့်ပေါ့ကြာရှုံးမှုဖြစ်နေပါ
Right now, the military is taking huge losses. They are losing at the battalion level. Battalion has managed 10 regiments. Okay, so that is that now they are facing losses as well. Now they have lost tactical operating commands. So the Buhagong, or what we call that as a strategic tactical commands posts. These posts are important, and that these divisions and battalions are run by the tactical operation commanders, and these tactical command stations are extremely important. We call them buhagons, and that where they will have like artillery such as that 120 millimeter or the 122. You have like a have those who can do you have long range like kilometers like long range artillery there in those strategic the military hilltop camps, and then these tactical commands have been falling as well, and that division, some of the divisions are even facing major challenges as well, like some of these the command the command itself is at risk as well. There are also some of the commanding officers has been killed in the fighting as well. So what those who are working on the ground are the regional commanders, the military regions, and that if that the military these regional commands fail, then the Nepido, the headquarters have nothing to command as well. That if now that the battalions have been put at risk, it will be very difficult for them to manage as well, because they don't have a tactical command anymore, and that there is no logistic, there is no supply, there is no military strategy to support them as well, and the communication has been lost with the ground troops, so that and also these stations and the military bases have lost in 20 townships across, and that they have totally lost asset to those 20 townships militarily. And one significant thing about is that in the areas where they have lost contact, we see that often the regiments, the entire regiments have been wise, and they have the commanding officer has been able to show their wisdom by taking not only the soldiers but their family, as well as on the militias, and that civil servants, they have willingly that they don't want to serve anymore, they don't want to fight anymore in this unjust war against the people, against the civilian. They should not be making the sacrifices, ultimate sacrifice of their lives,
ပူပေါင်းသွားတဲ့ဖြစ်
so
စဉ်
that they have also have defected or surrender, and with the numbers in handrest, and these events are significant. And this shows that the military is failing militarily, that and also they are also losing the loyalty or that allegiance of its officers, fellows, rank and file, and the families. The most of them are waiting for a certain amount of time. They're waiting until that revolution forces come, and then they stand ready to cooperate, to surrender as well. And that's the worst that the military is facing for the past 30 years. There had been revolutions in the past, there had been difficult times for the military, but never at this level. We have never seen this level of impact on the military since the military that it is not as worse as how the military was just after the 1948 when Myanmar gained independence. At that time, military was a kind of scattered, was in difficult conditions, but the people supported the military, so they were able to survive and revive. But now military people have they have lost the support of the people. They have lost battalions. They have lost regiments. They have lost stations. They are also losing their tactical command. And if we look at it, they also have lost the morale, and that they are also losing the support of not only of the people but also the rank and file, to the extent that they can't even recruit a new as well. As for the officers that normally that they were able to generate a lot of new officers, new bloods, but now they are scrubbing. They are like scrambling to get 100 of new officers every year. So the military is doing really badly, I would say that. And another obvious thing is the officer who are currently serving them as well, especially not only the younger generation of officers, but also the elder generation. They are saying that this is an unjust war, and that this is a losing war, and they are fighting an unjust war. That they are starting to make necessary preparations indeed as well. And there's some of the officers are thinking, okay, what will be the strategy? What should I do? Should we defect? Should we surrender? Should we do that? Because our areas are not going to be in contact with the engagement with the Russian forces. So I think that the military escalation will increase. That with the momentum, it will also cripple the military more and more, because the impact is going not only to the soldiers but also to the ranking officers as well. Thank you, Thuta. I just would like to have a follow-up question. So you mentioned about the recruitment. The military is having difficulty with the recruitment issue, and that recently we have heard and read that the military has been issuing that amnesty to the former soldiers, the soldiers who are in the break or soldiers who are serving as well, and that they are giving them amnesty and official pardon to serve, to go back to the military and serve as well. And on that situation, do you have any update or any comment you want to share? Well, the military is in a dire straits, and that is also made evidence by the people, the way the military has been issuing official pardon to all those soldiers, to the soldiers who have been in prison, and also have those soldiers who are AWOL, those who are deserters, and they were given blanket amnesties, and then if they come back and serve as well. And I have served 15 years in the military, and I also have heard from the other. This has never, ever happened before. That there has been, some battles with the horrific results, resulting in thousands of soldiers being killed. But even when soldiers were 1,000 of them were killed in one battle, military never had to resort to this. So this is the last resort, so to speak, and it also shows that the military is desperate to get recruits, that they need that manpower, and that it is not new, because military has been facing difficulty in recruiting more people, for the past decade as well. They have to use a lot of way to get new soldiers coming in. They are using the power. They are using power. They use many different ways to do it. Now they can't even pay people to join the military because of people have different commitments now. People don't want to be part of the military. People do not want to be join the military. So it becomes harder for us as well. So they are looking at the deserters now. They're looking at the AWOLs, those who are leave without the absence without leave, or those who are also deserted the military because they don't want to say. They have to issue a formal offer to call them back as well. And also soldiers who have committed the crimes. Sometimes some of the soldiers are imprisoned not because some of those deserters are because because they have committed a crime inside the military. They don't want to be punished. They don't. That's why. But some also don't desert because they want to stay in the military. So the fact that they are giving them pardons as well as on the amnesties as well, that also is not good for the military either, because those who are inside the military prison, or those who have deserted the military, because they don't want to stay inside the military, because because it didn't work out for them in their stay inside the military. And the fact that these soldiers come back, but then again and that they also that sometimes that that if the soldiers if the military is doing very well, and then that they will, if you are a deserter, then you'll be sent to prison, and then they are releasing them from the if they are being released from the prison, but then in the front lines there are also those who are fighting on the front lines. The soldiers are joining the people's embrace. They're defecting them, they are surrendering them. So all these soldiers who have been released from the prison, they are even more at those risks of running away as well. The military is desperate to be able to maintain their controlled territory. So all those soldiers, all those soldiers who are under the sandals, once they are released, once they are in the regiment, or when they are in the ground, that they could also run away. They could also simply run away and then left the military. So the military is, in a way, that shows how desperate the military is. They are trying to grab the whatever straw it is possible. So this is probably their last straw too. So thank you, Thuta. So you have discussed about what is the situation of the military, the difficulties also as along with the fighting as well. Now I would like to invite Siama, and that other speakers also have shared about the situation that the military has been crippled by the revolutionary forces. The military has never faced such difficult or such challenging situations before in their history as well. I think Karenni Interim Executive Council has recently issue and program where you welcome all the rank and file to defect the program as well, so that and then what is your can you also share with us a little more about this defection program, and what are the what arrangements have you made to welcome the defectors in the Karenni state? Yes, thank you for the question. I think about 6 days ago that so IEC had we had IEC had that we had released the fashion program, and that the idea is for that it's a program that's something we have worked with together with the others at IIC and other entities, and why do we set up this fashion program? Because some people say that the time for the CDM is over, and that we should not receive the soldiers as the CDMs anymore. But I think it is important to open the doors on the CDM. It is important to welcome the defectors, that in doing so, that we are not just explaining to them they should defect. We are also giving them guarantees of what we are ensuring once they defect and join the people's embrace as well. And that so the idea is that we call defection for us is that disobeying the military orders and then joining the side of the people. That in Karenni state we have the Karenni Interim Executive Council. We also have the Karenni the United Nationalities Army. They can also join any of those entities to defect as well. In our program, so we also have in the program we also have set up that arrangement as well, because we want to ensure the dignity and the position as well, because we also look at because we open the defection program, and because we want to have at least casualties, and that we also want to preserve the dignity and as well as the professionalism and position of the military, both rank and file as well, and that we want to those who want to engage with us, and that will be considered as the CDMers, and that and also we also have the former CDM, and that those are people soldier, and that those who are the local organizations are part of this CDM program as well. From this arrangement, what we will also guarantee their safety as well. The ones that the soldiers that are military from the SAC they defect, we will ensure their safety, that their lives will be safe, and that next part will be that their position and their dignity, and that the human dignity and the position, and that for them to be able to stay safe, for them to be able to live with the dignity. This is something we'll also be ensuring. We'll be taking care of that as well. And thirdly, and that once that they have defected, and that if they want to serve in the revolution, and if they want to join the military, if they want to join the revolutionary forces, then we'll also help the program to integrate them into the revolutionary forces. We guarantee them so they will not lose their position as well. So in addition to that, in addition to the CD and to the defection as well, that if you are currently in the front lines, if you want to surrender, then the surrender is also recognized, and their lives will be guaranteed, and they'll be able to contact with their families, so that if they had committed crimes, the crimes will be for their admission as well as the recognition of the crimes they have committed. They will be their sentences will be taken into consideration. Their education will take into consideration for their admission as a recognition of their age as well. And those who are prisoner of war, if they don't surrender, if they don't defect, and they are being arrested with the prisoner of war, then that they have the right to life, because which is a basic human right as well. And it is also clearly stated in our defection the program as well. Along with this statement about the defection program, we also have welcomed that anyone to join us, and if they want to contact us, we also have provided contact number as well, so they can either contact us individually or as units or their regiments. Then if they want to defect, or if they want to take any of the measures that we have offered in the program, they can contact us and we can make the necessary arrangement as well. No, and a lot of people also say that it is too late, we should not accept the defectors because they want to defect because they want to save their lives. There are such questions like that as well. And then they are also saying that by defecting, they are being disloyal, that they are in a way, they are not loyal to what they have so allegiance to. But I think it is important to look at it from the perspective that rather than following these unjust orders, unfair orders where you are being ordered to shoot and kill and arm civilians, I think defection is a way of saving the professionalism and the dignity of the military itself as an institution. The last point I would like to make is that it is not only about saving lives, civilians, it's also about saving the dignity of the military, of the army, of the institution, and also about the saving their lives as well, because saving the country, because along with the escalation of the military, escalation, that there were both lives will be lost from the other side as well. So it is important to defect, to contribute to the revolution, and also participate in to be a part of the change, so that we can have a systematic security sector reform later in the future as well. Thank you for the explanation about the objectives and the objectives, purpose, as well as the measures that are part of the Karenni State Interim Council's defection program as well, and that you also have highlighted that it is now is the time for the soldiers of the SAC to defect as well, because defection is not only for their future, but also the future of the military as an institution, and as of the country, as a nation too. And that's the message you want to give to all the soldiers, and so that by I think it will also be important, it will also fall on their shoulders also to think this through and have the courage to make the decision and join the defection program. Now we'd like to go to the second round. I would like to start the second round with Siama Rose. Siama Rose, once again, good evening. Good evening to you. So, Siama Rose, my question to you is that, with the defection and the settlement is now happening more and more. So, how can you that to make it stronger, that to strengthen the defection movement, the wives of the soldiers, the rank and files have become also more important. What is the role that the spouses can play, and how do we mobilize them? How do we engage with them? What kind of messaging should we be given to the spouses of the soldiers? Well, to surrender or to defect, I think it is important to reach out to the wives of the soldiers, because they play an important role as well. Since the coup, those who live in the barracks as well, the soldiers have less contact with the civilians as well, and their access to social media also have been restricted as well, and the wives are the one who can really convince them to defect as well, and think that they can be the ones to convince their husbands and that their spouses to defect or to surrender as well, and that whenever if you give them messages, they will be able to that reach out to their husbands, that they can also so that when they can talk to their husbands who are serving on the front line, they can talk them through on the phone, or they can also send messages on as well. And they also by for them when they share about what is happening on the ground, and that that people hate the soldiers now, how strong the people's resentment of the soldiers. I think it is important to share the reality with their husbands, and for them to be able to happen, we need to communicate with them, we need to reach out to them, we need to to make sure that as well. And then we also want the each and every one of the wives also to consider as well, that rather than staying trapped within the small small wall, the small army barracks, I think it is important to try to find your own space, try to find some liberty and independence as well. And also that and though there is also, I think that that if you I think it is also important to show them understand that the military has a propaganda. Military has brainwashed them to believe in that if they surrender, if they defect, that they will be killed, they will be imprisoned, and that and it is not true. And it is important to tell them that that is not so, so that they can share that with their husband, that that will not happen to them, that they will not be putting their lives at risk as well, that they will be warmly welcomed by the People's Embrace program, and that they will also have like an ethnic, it's the same from the ethnic brothers and sisters. They are not mistreated, and they will be treated warmly. That's a reality. So they should not be sitting blind and that deft from the from the propaganda. It is important to encourage them. It is important for them to understand that, so that they can encourage their husband, advise him to be going to the right track. I think it is important for women to understand their responsibility, and it is also important to give a message that it is the sooner they join the People's Embrace, the better for everyone. Thank you. Thank you for your suggestions. That so that wives of the soldiers, that at least they will be able to have more access to what is happening on the ground. So they also were able to see more than that as well. And of course, they are the people who have the most contact with their husbands or the soldiers, who are fighting on the ground. So if we can give messages that they will be able to convince their husbands into defection or the other forms of program as well. I also would like to share, listening to this, I would like to share one example as well, that how important the wives of the soldiers can do for the defection and the surrender of the soldiers as well. And that in one of the reserve units, the reserve units is where that some of the reserve units, some of the soldiers were ordered to join the front line. And this woman, her husband, I don't know him, and that her husband was also ordered to serve on the front line as well. And that no, that she told him that no, the revolutionary forces are welcoming you to defect, and the wife is convinced her that your life will not be at risk, and that you will be welcome as well. That she even sent him sent with him a white t-shirt, so that he can he can raise a white flag. And that so whenever you engage in a fighting with the revolutionary forces, so just wave the white flag, and that's as well. And that so that it is important that not to not to sacrifice your life for the military leaders, and you should not be sacrificing your life for Myanmar. And give him a message, and give him a white undershirt, so that he can surrender. So that was the real story. And that also shows that the women have access to more information, they are more practical, and that they are also they also play influential role. So it is important to give the message to them as well. Thank you, Siama. Next, I would like to invite Komyochi. Uh, so I would like to know about what's the perception of defection surrender, the raising the white flag. What is it happening? So what's happening among the foot soldiers, and that what's needed to help them to defect more, to surrender more? So as a former soldier, as a former like non that commissioned officer, what will be your recommendation to strengthen defection as well as on the surrender movement of the foot soldiers? Well, the foot soldiers want to join the people's embrace program, want to join the people force, but they have difficulty in to do so as well, because in most of the regiments you're not allowed to have your own phone. Your mobile phones are being confiscated as well, so you don't have a no longer have a mobile phone. It can be very difficult to to read to contact as well, so they don't have direct, they cannot. And that they even the people that only those who are trusted by the military or trusted by the senior officials, so that they will only have a SIM card, so it could be very difficult as well. That of course, if there is more contact, they want to come, they want to join the people's side as well, they want to defend, but the communication is a challenge as well, that sometimes their mobile phone has been seized, they don't have a, they are that sometimes they also use jammer, so you cannot make calls as well, so it can be very difficult to reach out to make arrangements for them to join the people's side to do that as well. There are many who wants to join, they are serious about it, they are wanting to join it as well. I think if we can to do more of like a that material version, like a paper brochures of welcoming them, of indicating them how they can join, where they can go, that will be useful. Thank you. So when you're saying is that on the troops, the ground troops, there are people who are, there are a lot of soldiers who want to join the defense as well. But however, the mobile phone or the communication can be get off. So you are suggesting like a brochures, like a pamphlets where you can talk about how they can go, where they can go for defense. That will also help with the defection as well. That will also help them more, ready to raise the white flag and surrender as well. So what about the possibility of the entire regiments or the entire command, defecting? Is there a possibility? Do you think the divisions or the regiments can do you think might they defect, or might they surrender for the as collectively, yeah, come in the cities or towns, or in the in the front lines? Do you think, is there a possibility? So can you also share an advice based on your experience? Well, most of the foot soldiers, the way we think is that, before, and if you go to the new fighting only take place in ethnic states like current state right now, is with this, after the coup, what has happened is that, not only all the, all the state, ethnic states have, that, fighting. So they are interested in defection. They are very much tempted as well, but the issue could be a connection issue, is that, that they don't know how to contact with it as well. And then most of the foot soldiers are barely literate as well, and that they feel that they are, that if they join, if they surrender, and they are being now, they believe the propaganda of the military, that they will be tortured for intelligence, and they will be killed, they would be, that mistreated. So that also makes them confused as well. A lot of them want to defect, want to, surrender, but because it's in the end, they also want to join the people's side. They do want to do that, but they are also confused. They are also worried about their safety. That they will not be, so when I joined here, then I was able to, reach out to our friends and tell them, no, it's okay, brother, that we are safe, and that also says that the military will also be blocking the transported as well. That if they don't trust the soldier, if they think the soldiers might desert or defect, they would confiscate the soldiers' weapons, and they would even make them stay, closely to those officers or the soldiers that they trust. So if we can, communicate more effective, it will be more effective. Because, for example, like, even if we don't have, that we don't have, when we don't contact a lot of defectors who just defect, because they could, just go in that direction, and that they would be able to, find some safety as well. So we also see a lot of people who are surrendering recently as well, and that, so I think it's good that that because SAC is now torturing torturing people, and they are being given orders to ban down villages and to attack the villages. That also is pushing the soldiers out from the from the troops as well. The most difficult thing I think is communication. If we can set up forms of communication, whenever whenever we go to a village, you can also get information also from the villagers. So that also is helping, because they get information on the ground that will also help them be able to defect, or that also to be able to leave as well. So thank you for sharing about what is happening about the defectors, as well as on the raising the frightness surrendering. I also like to invite two other speakers, and that so that and after our two speakers, I will also be giving a chance to the people who are listening to us on Zoom and also on their Facebook live streams as well. So if you want to ask questions, come join us on Zoom, and you'll be able to raise your hand. We will give you a chance also to participate and discuss with our speakers. Now I would like to invite Siama Subroma once again. Siama, that revolutionary forces fighting back against the military in different parts of the country, and the militarily the strategy is very effective. With all the military theaters active across Myanmar, how important the faction program is in your opinion, and that to be able to annihilate the military, that with the escalation of the military offensive going on, how do you think that the faction play an important role into that?
Thank you very much for this second question. So first of all, what I would like to say regarding this question is about the revolutionary forces. They are not in this revolution to kill the people. They hate the system. They don't hate the soldiers. So this is something that I would like to say. So while trying to change the system, the military it's committing all sort of brutalities. So they are facing all sort of crackdown by the military. So soldiers are the people as well. The soldiers are the member of publics as well. So it is very important that the soldiers really need to know what is righteousness and what is wrong. And if they think that they are at the wrong side, they need to change their side to the righteousness. So that is how they will truly be the people of a soldier, and they themselves are the member of a public, truly. And in Karenni, the military operations is quite intensive, and there are lots of area under controlled and by the revolutionary forces, and now the revolutionary forces are capturing and controlling more and more territory. So it is very important that the soldiers raise their white flag. It is important that the soldiers are now to defect. So in Karenni, we have this defection strategy, defection program, and everything. Please contact by any mean that you can to us so that we can help you out to leave the military. So the defection, it's for the country itself, but it is very, I mean, it is the fact that the military brainwashed the soldier regarding this military. So basically, the thing is that the battlefield, the war, it's not the end of everything. So basically, battlefield, it's definitely not the end of the game. So if um, we think that to kill the soldier it's the end of the revolution, then it's a wrong ideology. So in Karenni, we um, have this commitment that we will uh, 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 endeavor journey until we reach to the goal. So basically, in Karenni area, there are defecting regimen. So there are defecting soldiers that we receive more and more in this revolution. So defection, it's the most critical um, strategy. The thing is that in the future, we do not want to have any sort of hatred. We do not want any sort of discrimination. We want to have the reconcile society, and we really need to have the soldier wanting to stand together with the people and serve the people and its and their country again in the future as well. So what happened is that in the current contact, and we would like to suggest that try to have the communication strategy. Communication means much accessible to everyone on the ground, so that soldiers who would like to defect would be able to get access to the defection movement, defection program. That is what we are doing as well in Karenni state. So what I would like to say is that to the soldiers, please leave the military. And I also would like to encourage other part of the country to have this kind of program. And for the specific reconciliation purpose, it's very important that we need to promise that the right to live of the soldiers, and it is very important that we need to have some sort of forgiveness to them as well if they and if they defect. So yesterday, for example, there are even like 10 bombs that they dropped, and there are regular airstrike, bombardment by fighter jets, etc., etc. So there was an incident that in a place called Payapu area. So in that Payapu area, a fighter jet was shot by the by the revolutionary forces, and then that fighter jet just dropped a bomb, and on its return to its station, it was shot by the revolutionary forces. So what happened that the fighter jet collapsed on the ground, and what happened is that the pilot did not die. So that pilot somehow at the end, it's now in the hand of the revolutionary forces, and that pilot still live. That pilot is not killed by the revolutionary forces. That pilot was the one who just bombed us, but we respect his right to live. This is something that I would like to say. Thank you. Thank you very much for your message. We understand that the military have all sort of propaganda saying that if they leave their military, then they will be killed by the revolutionary forces. So we need to counter add this kind of propaganda. So that is what you mentioned to us. So at the same time, you encourage all the soldier to have a conscious decision that that they have to leave the wrong side but join the righteousness. And we also learn is that in your area, in your in Karenni state, there are defection program, there are defection support, etc., etc. So at the same time, you encourage other part of the country to have that kind of similar approach, to have that kind of programs. So you also touched a bit about the reconciliation, sense of forgiveness, right to life, right to live. So all of these are very important to have a stronger defection movement. Thank you very much for all of your opinion. Next, I would like to give the floor to Nhi Thuta. Nhi Thuta, we have discussed a lot already in terms of the dynamic of the military. Obviously, they are really, really weak. They are collapsing. And really, to demolish the military once and for all, how much important that the strategy, how much important that the faction movement is in order to demolish the military once and for all. What we should do in order to have the faction movement stronger and stronger. Thank you. Well, the military is having all sort of worried more and more. Their intensity of their concern is getting higher and higher. But then again, it is a very understandable that the human nature, it's they pretend that nothing is really happened. I mean, we have this famous incident, right? The whole Rome was on fire, but still the king, it's taking it very lightly and playing the harps at that time. So we can definitely see, sense, and hear that the military is pretending that they are at their upper hands. But all these facts and figures and ground situation tell us that the defection movement is getting more and more. People, the defection movement is more and more stronger. The soldiers are leaving the military more and more these days. So basically, Min Online even himself says that they are outnumbered. So he said that the over manpower volume is the word that he used in making his reference to the revolutionary forces. So all of these really indicate us that they are not at upper hand in this revolution. And the thing is that in terms of the defection movement, the age that we live in was not the age that we experienced in the past. There was no internet, there was no proper communication tools. But now we have all this trust. I mean, we have all this transparency. We have all this information and news that we have more and more soldiers leaving the military. So now, of course, there are some trust issue that we can understand that the potential defector soldier might have before making their decision. But the thing is that the revolution is not about killing a group of people. This revolution is not about killing individual. This revolution is about changing the system. So if you looked at the dynamic and the attitude and ideology of all this ethnic revolutionary organization, revolutionary forces, they are believing in changing the system, and their behavior it's in line with that. So in terms of how we are to coordinate among all these various revolutionary forces, it is indeed the room for the improvement. But I am sure that each and individual potential defector soldier might contact to their nearest source, but the nearest source might not necessarily be in the position to accommodate the defectors and as well as make the referrer to the defection program. That is understandable as well. So what I'm trying to say is that we of course need to come up with the coordinated effort to have the defection movement much stronger. Say for example, a soldier A want to leave military in the state A, but the defection program or assistant might be available only in state B, which is near to state A. So, if state A revolutionary forces and state B revolutionary forces work together, then this defection movement will become much more coordinated, synchronized, systematic, and 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 much accessible. So this defection movement is not a very straightforward operation, I would say. It is not a straightforward activity. And this is the activity that we all need to have coordinated approach as well. So this is something that I would like to say. We need to have this defection movement in a broader area, and we need to have a network, we need to have a mechanism, we need to have all sort of coordinated activities to have this broader defector movement as well. So NUG is implementing this kind of program, but the role of the NUCC shall not to be underestimated, because NUCC is making the policy, laying the foundation of the future of the country as well. So for NUCC um, should not only uh, NUCC should not only come up with a policy, but also come up with a practical action such as forming a committee, a nationwide committee of the defection movement. So this is something that I would like to say. So what I would like to say is that there are all sort of programs segregated when there are all sort of assistant group on the defection, all sort of activities are carried out by all sort of separate entities, organizations, stakeholders. But then again, all of these happen at their specific locality, specific area. So what happened is that if we have that kind of a separated or segregated geographical base defection movement, that defection movement in the past was not that successful. So we need to learn such lesson that a particular organization working the defection movement or support in a particular area, it's something not an ideal. Um, we may have thousands and tens of thousands of defectors coming out of the military, I mean, in like, I don't know, very soon. So it's very important that we need to have a coordinated operation and friendly operation and accessibly uh, reached operation. That is what we need. This defection movement is almost like a kind of a military tactics. So basically, what happened is that in order to um, kill a soldier, it is such a high cost that that investment needs to be made. So it is not, I mean, easy to kill a soldier, and it is not, financially speaking, um, economical to kill a soldier. So we need to have this kind of cost investment, not to kill someone, but to accommodate the um, defection movement. This is something that I would like to say. Thank you. you very much for your points. You mentioned about the room for the improvement for the defection movement, and you also mentioned about the messages to be considered for the revolutionary forces to have a stronger defection movement. And we also hear the recommendation from you as well. And you also mentioned about there is a need to have a coordination across various part of the country among all these various stakeholders, actors. And you also talked about that the number of defectors in the future might be more. So we have to, the revolutionary forces require to prepare themselves to come up with the proper strategy. So basically, we learn from your experience working as one of the leaders in the defection movement. Thank you very much for all of this. So now, round of the panel discussion is end here. And after that we will have the Q&A session. And somebody raise a hand. Koteza, you raise your hand. You may want to take the floor. Please. I would like to discuss one thing. The SAC is losing its soldiers. New recruitments is almost impossible for them. According to the news that we observe these days, the SAC are now having the forced recruitment at the village level. So basically, the SAC asked the village leader, asking that each and every village it's to provide 5 people in Magoi, in Town Twinji, so middle part of Myanmar. We heard this kind of news that this kind of movement by or recruitment by the SAC it's happening. What happened is that the regime around the middle part of Myanmar are losing lots of their soldiers. So as a result of this kind of dynamic, the the village leaders also resign their position as well. So the military, the SAC did not accept that. So the village leader are forced to be in that kind of position, and the SAC forced the village leader to recruit um, people to make soldiers in their village as well. So this is a forced recruitment going on. So I kind of wonder what would happen. I mean, what would be the consequences of this kind of situation in this revolution? Thank you. So basically, what I understand from you is that the forced recruitment is going on. So as a result of it, what we need to be aware of it, what we need to prepare about that, what we can anticipate about that. So I think this is what you would like to ask. So now I would like to give the floor to Konyi Thuta to discuss about this particular issue. Well, we heard a lot about this forced recruitment lately, but I think that they might use this newly recruits for the other purposes rather than sending to the battlefield, in my opinion. They may use them as the local guide to show the directions, to show the location, etc., etc. So now the Myanmar police, it's losing everywhere. What happened? Well, because the soldiers, the policemen are not treated as a soldier. So the weapons of the police, the appliance of the police, and the treatments of the police are downgraded than than those of the one that used by the military. So basically, military does not treat the police forces as their equal counterpart, and they always treated police as a lower armed force and providing bad arms, bad ammunition. And it's the same for the people soldiers of the pro, or the proxy forces of the military. So what happened in that case, in that ideology or in that logic, is that, and I don't think that the newly recruits will be fully equipped um, to, to send to the battlefield. So what happened is that people um, will be mistreated, and the sense of fear will be more intensified, and people do not want to go out of a place at night. So what happened is that the security forces, police, the soldier like it if no one goes out. I think this will be a kind of consequences of this kind of forced recruitment. I don't think that the number of soldiers will be rejuvenized or replenished by having this kind of forced recruitment. I don't think so. So at the same time, we understand that there are civil services, the government employee. I mean, if they want more soldiers, they might probably might want to take the government employee to be the soldier, but they do not do that yet, I think. So I don't think that the newly recruited innocent civilian might be made soldiers. So basically, this forced recruitment is there for more corruption, more bribery, but this forced recruitment will make people more stressful. But I don't think that the newly recruits will be used to smash this revolution. I don't think so. And there is no mean that they can use the newly recruits people to be a new soldier. Thank you. And I also would like to go through some of comments in the chat box. Somebody said my younger brother it's was recruited forcefully. He just reached his 18 years old, and now I would like to give the floor to another one who raised a hand with the name Vivo V2124. Please take the floor. Thank you.
စစ်ကောင်စီတပ်ကိုဖြိုချအဆုံးသတ်နိုင်ဖို့ဆိုတဲ့ခေါင်းစဉ်တစ်ခုနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးကျမကအကြံပေးချင်တာပေါ့ဒီထက်ပိုပြီးတော့ဘယ်လိုပိုကောင်းအောင်
So here I would like to advise, and I also like to ask, what can we do to, that to win the SAC? So my question is also what I would share and advice as well, like to be able to win this revolution. I think it is important to have a military coalition. For the military coalition to happen, it is important that rather than being scattered all over the revolution across the country, I think if we have like a coalition, forces of a coalition, I think it will be better. It is important to build alliances, and that's because on the ground there are also some tensions and some frictions as well. That if there are like too much friction and too much tensions among the revolutionary forces, that's not a good sign. So I want more of a light relationship where there is more of a coordination, collaboration, that to have a strong allied coalition of revolutionary forces. What can be done? What should be done? What efforts should go into the building the revolutionary coalition, so that what can the MOD does, what can MOD do, or what can the different and state actors do for this to strengthen the military, that to build the coalition of revolution forces to be able to win the against the SAC troops. It is important to have a military the cooperation and a coalition forces as well, so that your question you give it to the I think to the NUG MOD, but I would like to request Siama Subudoma from Karenni Interim Executive Council to respond to this question, Siama. And can you give me a summary of the question? Yes, the question is that to win the SAC, that it is important that revolutionary forces form a military coalition, and because then also it is also important to reduce that friction among the different revolutionary forces, so that our participant asks us questions: what can be done to NUG, and that irrelevant actors what should they do to form a military coalition among the revolutionary forces. So, Siama, can you answer what about the revolutionary coalition forces? Well, I will also share a little about what we are doing in Karenni State. In Karenni State, well, Karenni State is known as the smallest ethnic state in Myanmar, and we also have the least population as well. But even before, we had about 4 ethnic revolutionary organizations, and that they are some of them are in the control area. They also have some of them have their own they also have a governance mechanism as well. For example, like they also maintain the rule of law. Sometimes they not only have an arm wing, they are also providing justice. They are providing healthcare. They also have their own administrative area as well. After the coup of 2021, we also have started. There are also many organizations such as the local PDFs as well, and we also have the Mobile Peko. These are the areas by historical background. These are the Karenni areas. So that they may be physically state as well. So we also have the groups that come out from the community, and then there are also, because of the you also have like forces like KNDF, Korean National Defense Forces as well. So there are many organizations and revolutionary organizations in Karenni State. So in that, with the 2021, then we had a lot of questions on who will be who will take the chain of command, that we should go to where we should go. Some of the people say, oh, we should go under the umbrella of the MOD of the NUG, and some would say, no, we want to rather remain independent and work as well. KNDF, they already have KNDF also, even in this initial inception, it has already stated very clearly that we'll have our own state government. The state government will be will be in command of the KNDF as well. So that militarily, I think it is important to have a unique chain of command, and that there are also challenges to work collectively as well. It is not only in the militarily, but also when we look at the IDPs, and as well as on the the impact is not only on the military, but also on the IDPs as well. That so in 2020, I think we only have a KSCC, the Karenni State Consolidated Council. So we started talking about the collective, being a collective force. We started engaging with the organizations on the ground as well, and also to be able to have a military cooperation. We started working together since 2021. At that time, Karenni State Interim Executive Council was not established yet. At that we have to look into the situation. We look at for the when we started operating as a together collectively as a coalition, we achieve more success as well. There is also better discipline as well as on the better results, and that such achievements are important for us. So we have a lot of forces as well. So whether you have I'm not a spokesperson for KNDF or the PDF or any other armed organizations, but as an outsider, I can also see military achievement through the collaboration and cooperation as well. That there are also KNDF, you also have PDF, you also have ethnic armed organizations, and that by working together, they were able to achieve good results as well. That if you look at it politically, we also engage with the NUG in some of the work that we do as well. That for the discipline, for the unity, for the solidarity of the armed organizations, we also have there are a lot of work we need to do to be able to form a coalition or coordinate or integrate as well. That as for the IC, that we have in the interim executive council, we have 12. We'll have 12 divisions, 12 departments. We are able to form 7 of them. One of them is defense, the Department of Defense as well. Department of Defense, part of our work is strengthening the military coordination and cooperation as well as some military integration. And IC, we have a program, and there's the unit working on it as well. Some of the parts that we are working on, of course, we cannot disclose all the details, and sometimes it's still work in progress, so we are not ready to publicly announce it yet. But we consider it a priority, and it is one of our strategy for the military coordination and collaboration as well. As asked by our participant, I think it is important that in some of the states we could also have the national defense forces, and that the way they can work on. But if we work together by coordinating militarily, form a coalition, that will also reduce the unnecessary tensions and frictions, and that will also be able to achieve better military goals, and that with less tensions and frictions and more achievement militarily, I think it will bring more benefit to the people. It will also ensure and guarantee our management and administration. And so I believe that the coalition is important for this revolution. Thank you. Thank you for your answer. I hope that you'll be able to achieve this military coalition very soon, and I'm wishing all my best to you. Thank you for the question as well as and the Samasubroma. Thank you for your answer. Now, so I also have another question, and that I would like to ask you a very short question as well. So one question here from the participant is that what about those young soldiers who do not have an opportunity to defect? If they can't defect, what can we do? How can they do? If they cannot defect, what can they do? So the Samasubroma, can you give it a very short answer to this question? What if soldiers can't defect? What can they do? Well, that as we have a defection program, and that NUG also have the People's Embrace program as well, where they are welcome as well. There are also many efforts for the KIC. For IUC, we also have that forces which are inside that. We also have the program, defection program. If you're interested, if you're stationed in the Karenni state or nearby Karenni state, we also encourage them as well. That because what I'm saying is that defection is not only about saving lives. It's also not about getting your safety. It's also about respecting the dignity as well as on the and of the military as well. I think that defection really depends on you, how you feel, what you think is doing the right thing or not. So once you have decided, you will just need to reach out to the nearest revolutionary forces as well. Like as a CDM soldier officer has just explained, as you can, if you're on the ground, then reach out to the nearest as well. So we we have already in the Karenni state, we already have established like about 5 stations. That you also have the channels on the Telegram as well as on the Facebook. You can also reach out to us in different ways as well. We have opened different channels of communication to call us as well, so that we have no limitations on when they can contact us as well. Though that just you can reach out to them different means as well, and that we don't have limits on the numbers of defectors who will also receive as well. So if you're in a Karenni state, then reach out to us with different means to reach out to come to us as well. And that if you are still in other parts of Myanmar, then you can use the channel as well. These channels will always be open. You can also reach out if they want to defect, then they can also use the NUG different programs to reach out to us as well. And then I would like to give Koteza, because Koteza, you have a follow-up question. So please go ahead. Koteza, please. I have a follow-up question because the topic of discussion is for the to collapse the SAC troops and to bring them to an end. So that we have been doing different efforts to weaken the military. So we are also trying to undermine the military by to make it weak, and then to also so we also talk about defection a lot. Defection is important. Defection is too. But are we thinking, when we think of defection, are we thinking only about the military and the police? As Thuta, as you have shared earlier as well, what the military does is the military can also turn to the civil servant as well. They can also turn civil service into the reserve forces as well, but there are also like Paungji, which is the school for the administrative civil servants, and that what they will do is that they have given, when you are a civil servant, you have to go through the civil service orientation and training. Part of the training is military training itself. Like they give you like parade training, and so if you are in, that is for the Lower Myanmar, and then Zibinji near Memut in Mandalay region, there is also the civil service academy too as well. But before then the policy change, and that if you're a civil servant, you don't need to have a military training, and yet they changed the policy once again. Now they are giving military training to the civil servants. So think about not only about the military and the police. What about the civil servants? They could be turned. They could be forced into serving the military duties as well. There are already letters issuing them, turning them into reserve forces as well. So what are we going to do to deal with them that as well? So if you're working on the defection, and if you're trying to promote defection, think not only about the military and the police. What about civil servants? That's their go-to way as well. So are there measures thinking about how to deal with the situation where the military turn all the civil service force into the reserve units? Thank you for your question. I think NUG, I'm sure it has been if you look, there are also information or the statements issued by the NUG to deal with that as well. There are also statements, and that different statements issued by the different revolutionary forces as well. But I'm sure that some of these statements answered your question. Maybe Siamasu Broma can add a few points to this question of Kodeza. Yes, Siamasu Broma, please go ahead. Yes, as for the CDMRs, that we are also still providing assistance to the CDMRs. I think NUG also have the programs programs with the CDMs as well. But I think in our operation, to give you an example of our operation, the 1111, that for the CDMRs, we had for those who the non-CDMRs, we had an investigation commission, and the investigation committee also investigate them. We release them as well, and after that, and during that program, to be very open here, that we didn't have a CDN policy. So when it comes to the non-CDMRs, and that KSCC is a federal unit of the NUCC, so we apply that CDM policy of the NUCC. So we followed that because we didn't have our own proper CDN policy as well. However, for the KSCC, that we are also starting to draft the CDM policies, and as well as well, and that and also those who join the CDM from the various sectors. And then we also the idea also is also looking at also the CDM, how would you manage with the CDM front policy. That's what I would like to share based on the work as well. When we talk about the defection, and that after we have announced our defection program, so that we already have given a speech on that defection as well, and that so that our target is not only the main pillars of the armed forces, which is the military and that police. We also have included in our defection that we also include that CDM, the non-CDMers too. I also see a question as well, and then what about the salary? The question is that for the CDMers, will the salary be given as well? That we don't have a clear policy as to the when you join the CDMs or when you become the non-CDM, where they get the salary. I think it's not, we don't have a clear policy yet. As for the IC, once IC has been established, and that we also have been take action as well, and that so that we don't have a so we don't use the term. We are an executive council. We are not a government, so we don't use it as ministry as well. We are department as well. So we have encouraged CDMers to serve as well. Sometimes in every department we also have formed with the CDMers as well. That CDMers, with the experience with the CDMers, we are trying to build administrative system in Karenni state as well. The same for the education. We'll have the basic education, that secondary school, as well as on the high that also have that high education as well. That we have experience project management, those who have experience managing with the topic as well as the content as well. So right now that we have welcomed the non-CDMers to join us, and the CDMers to join us, and they're serving as well. So in terms of engagement and the participation, we can say that so there can be of those who join us, and that as well as there are those who are 100% supportive, and there are also people who say that no, we must take action against the non-CDMers, and that they are not happy that we are asking non-CDMers to now still join the CDM movement, or to join the to provide the to continue working as well. That but I can say that I think it is also important to have we need to think about the resettlement as well as a reconciliation, that for the non-CDMers, we might also need to think about giving them like official pardon or the amnesty, but this is still in the discussion process, so there is nothing we cannot say exactly per se on that as well. Thank you, Siama, for answering these questions, and that so we already have passed the set amount of time, so we'd like to wrap up today's talk show here, and I would like to ask speakers to give their closing remarks, and then we'll end it here. So I would like to first invite Siama Rose. Any message you want to give to the people who are listening, to the people of Myanmar, what will be your closing remarks? Thank you. Thank you to all I would like to say to the listener, as well as on those who are still inside the military. For soldiers, rank and file, as well as the wives of the soldier, I would like to say, please defect as soon as possible. Everyone is warmly welcoming you to defect. Thank you, Siama Rose. Chit, any closing remarks? Chit.
Hello,
Chit, can you hear us? Or maybe his connection is not stable.
Hello.
Chit. He might have lost connection. In that case, I would like to invite Thuta to give closing remarks. Right now, that situation is quite satisfactory for the revolution. So I think a lot that also makes that those who are inside the military have to think a lot. That the more you think, the longer you will suffer. That militarily, psychologically, physically, the quicker you make the decision, the better it is for you, because what you are facing is not just for you, also for your family, and also that because if you're facing this dilemma as a regiment, as a division, you also important to make the decision quickly so that you can save the lives of your troops and your officers and your soldiers as well. And I also like to welcome them as well. My hope that there's a one day that we want the people to welcome the defectors, as people are joking, as they are saying that that and that they are saying that the people are joking that what will happen if all the revolutionary, what will happen if revolution forces come to Nepido or Yangon and Mandalay, what will happen to them? If that happens, then there will be, even if we can get all the revolutionary forces to Yangon and Mandalay, there still is work to be done as well, because all the regiments, I think it is important for that we are waiting for the day where all the regiments will raise the white flag. That's the day we are going for. Why should we raise white flag? That we are now winning the war. We can annihilate the military. But why should we ask for the to raise the white flag? But what I want is for all the regiments to be able to raise the white flag. So raising the white flag, joining the light is joining the right side, making the right call, making the right decision, and that's the message that people will need to share with you. So please do that. Please tell them that if you have brothers or sisters, if you have that friends or the family, there's nothing to be ashamed of, because people can make the mistake. That you can be misguided, you can end up on the wrong track, on the wrong journey. But by raising the white flag, that time, one day you'll be making history, and that you'll not have the stigma of not raising the white flag in the history. That it is important that to defect, it's important to join the people's side, to raise the white flag. And that's the message I would like to request the people to share to any soldiers, and all the soldiers that you know of. Thank you, Thuta. Now I would like to invite Siama Zubroma for closing remarks. Siama, please go ahead. Thank you. So it's been nearly 3 years of revolution. Although it's been 3 years of revolution, that after 3 years of revolution, the military, the so-called the strongest institution in Myanmar, they are facing losses. They are facing losses as an institution. They are facing losses in manpower, in militarily as well, and they haven't been able to build an effective governance system as well. They have been able to provide. They have been able to start and then operate important governance mechanisms like basic services, including education and health, or the economy. So that I think it is important for the soldiers to realize that they should no longer continue to serve under a useless and that mismanaged kind of a leadership of the military. I think it is also important for the soldiers. It's up to each and every individual rank and file to able to raise the dignity of the military as an institution. You have the commanding officers. You also have the tactical commanding officers. You also have the senior military leadership who understand the reality and who know what will be the right way to do. So I think it is important for SUS to come to realize the truth, and that this is a losing war, and that to come to the defection order as well. So it is important, if you are in the cities or in the front lines, it is important to stop using the airstrikes as a way to counter your forces and try to defect as soon as possible. So with the IC, and that IC have a defection program, and UG also had the People Embrace program as well. These programs are welcoming all of you to defect as well. You have the right to live. You also have, we guarantee your safety, and that for your support as well. And even for the pilots, and if you are a fighter pilot, then you can come with your planes, or you can come with anywhere you are. That we will welcome you to once you defect as well. And that we even have a special program of recognition for taking the risk of bringing your weapons with you as well. So it is important to make this important decision to be safe, to be able to stay safely with your family and the loved ones. The defection is the right choice. It's something that people are also asking you to as well. I think it is important to make the individual decision to defect and that join and defect like others have done so as well. That that we have the defection program ready, so that it is, because we want, it's a high time to end the atrocities of the military council as well, and that so all the people of the women and that youth, and that all of us are willing to rebuild the country, and that it is important to recognize the will of the people, and it is also important now. It's a very important time also to end the atrocities and violence of the military hunter. Thank you very much indeed. That I would also like to say thank you to all the people who are listening to us on the Thought Process Talk program, as well as on those who are still inside the military listening to us. And then please don't forget, it is important. It is time to leave that military and just orders and just war, and then try to do the right thing. It is important to have the bravery, have the courage to raise the white flag and join the people's side and people's embrace. And it is, if you're an officer, it is important to think about the subordinates as well, because now people are welcoming you to join us. We also have the programs which will guarantee you safety as well as support as well, because the defection is not only about your future, it's also about the future of the military, future of the country itself. So it is important to make the right decision, make the right call, raise a white flag, join the defection program, and that as well. When we say people, that people welcome you. The soldiers come from the people too. They come from the community too. That it is important that you don't forget where you come from, and think about your origins, think about the community, and think about going back to the society as well. Because by raising the white flag, and by joining the defection program, it is a way of contributing to the society. So it is important to like to welcome the people, because people are the sources. So please share this message, important message of defection and the raising the white flag to all the soldiers wherever they may be, and those from the family or the friends. Give the message, encourage them to defect, to raise the white flag. This way, they will join us in our revolution, so that we'll be able to reach the goal of the revolution with the minimal of bloodshed and life loss. That's the message we'd like to request the people. I would like to say thank you to all the speakers. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you also for listening to us. And we'll see you next, probably in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks' time. And sorry that because of the shorter time, we'll not be able to invite everyone or respond to every comment. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.
Say Return.